Let us go back to another sea. Remember, we are in chapter 2 of this book, Palm Trees at the North Pole. We are talking about how warming can melt all the Arctic glacier, but also about how in the past, in fact, it was as warm as having palm trees in the Arctic at the North Pole. And we know that by using the detective work that we have been talking about, and we'll talk some more about the bubbles and the tree rings and so on. And here in chapter 2 we are looking at the bottom of the seas, and we looked at the Bering Sea, which is way in the North Pacific. Then we looked at the Coral Sea, which is off of Australia. And now we'll jump back into the North Atlantic in the North Sea to see what else is buried in these deep oceans. Remember, you probably read already somewhere that these ships that were going around sink somewhere like the Titanic, and they are sitting in the cold bottom of the ocean where there is no oxygen, there is very little life, and so things can stay there for a long time. It's as if they are frozen in deep ice and so on and so forth. So you can go and dig up these things and find clues for old past history of the earth. So we are looking here at the bottom of the North Sea. Once I bring up the laser pointer, which is this red thing which tells you where I am. If you stand on the beach on the coast of the Netherlands or the east coast of England, you will find yourself looking out across the endless surface of the North Sea. It's called North Sea because it's way out there in the north. All you will be able to see on the water is a few fishing boats and maybe some cargo ships making their way to a nearby harbor. It's hard to imagine that under those ships, in the grey mass of water, cold water, millions of creatures are living in their daily lives, Sharks are hunting for herring, which is a fish that lives there. Plaice, P-L-A-I-C-E, are hiding away in the sand. The hermit crab is looking for a new house unseen by your eyes. Countless nature films are taking place all at once, and we just don't have the ability to see them. However, it's even more difficult to imagine what it was like here thousands of years ago. First, you'll have to drain the sea, go to the bottom. On the bottom, you will find the bones of the mammoths, cave lions, hyenas, horses, and rhinoceroses. These are all animals that lived here 50,000 years ago during the last ice age. This part of the North Sea was once a big grassy plain. If you go before, there were hills and rivers flowed, and trees and bushes grew, and world was in the middle of an ice age. Most of the water between the Netherlands and England had disappeared because the ice built on land, and the sea level dropped, and the bottom of the ocean would have been exposed. And you can see here Great Britain, here the Doggerland, and the Denmark and Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, and so on and so forth. Fishing trawlers out on the North Sea regularly find these old bones in their nets as they trawl the bottom of the ocean. Occasionally, they also find traces of human beings, such as hand axes and antlers with small decorations carved on them, as only humans tend to do. Around 10,000 years ago, human beings lived as hunter-gatherers on the low-lying plain between England, the Netherlands, and Denmark, an area now called Doggerland. They made huts out of branches, canoes from tree trunks, and arrowheads of stones to hunt and fish. There was plenty of food to be found in this area. With a little luck, they could have a different meal every night. Monday, venison steaks, for example. Tuesday, mussels from the shallow seas. Wednesday, the duck leg. Tuesday, elk nuggets. Friday, fish soup. Saturday, boar stew, and Sunday, maybe otter burger as well. We are imagining a fancy menu, but maybe they just made fire and just barbecued everything. But you and I already know that the Doggerlands won't be able to stay there. The ice age is going to melt. The North Sea is on its way, which means the water is going to fill up, and Doggerland is going to be under the bottom of the ocean again. The meltwater from the ice caps made the sea levels rise by about 2 meters a century. First water channels of Doggerland filled up. The area became wetter and wetter. Deer, elk, and boars quickly got out of the bottom of the ocean, but the Doggerlanders stayed because human beings think nothing is gonna happen, we'll survive. There were enough places left where the water wasn't a problem yet. They did have to adapt their diet though a little bit from there on. They ate water birds, otters, and fish a bit more often, but the water went on rising. So you keep adjusting and adjusting as things slowly change, and you think this will be fine, and someday you realize, oh my god, everything is gone. We don't know the last Doggerlanders survived and what they did to do that. Maybe they went to live high and dry on Dogger Bank, a ridge of hills that slowly became an island. Or maybe they retreated to the mainland and decided they had had enough on Doggerland. Let's hope they did, because around 8,200 years ago there was a landslide off the coast of Norway that caused a huge tidal wave, a real tsunami which flooded all the coasts of North Sea, and that would certainly have included the Dogger Bank. So when a huge amount of material from land or a hill slides very rapidly into the water, it sets off these waves that move faster than a jet, hundreds of miles per hour, hundreds of kilometers per hour. And you can imagine, you have no time, it will just come as a wall of water and will wipe out everything. You may be too young to remember, in 2004 I think there was a massive tsunami that wiped out lots of land and killed hundreds of thousands of people. So it's a dangerous thing. Whatever happened, no arrowheads or other human traces have been found from after that date of 8,200 years. So by that point all the inhabitants had disappeared from the bottom of the sea. So here is a guy selling 2 otters, 1 elk, and 1 duck, or maybe she's mom that just cooked up a sumptuous meal, not knowing that this was going to come to an end. A wild boar is being cooked here on fire, and this guy is sitting nicely in a canoe and singing a song and thinking there is enough food. There's a dead animal at the bottom. There is a hunter-gatherer. We used to be small bands of people that went with these arrows and these lances and these spears, and we killed the animals and ate together and wandered around together as hunter-gatherers, right? So we'll come back and read about winter in the summertime, which is a way that things happen when you have an ice age. Winter in summertime, right? So we looked at Bering Sea, the land bridge, and how people would have crossed, and we looked at the Coral Sea and how sea level fluctuated and allowed these corals to grow, which are now being bleached because of global warming and water getting acidified because CO2 is dissolving into it. And we just looked at the North Sea, where the Doggerlanders lived and then probably went extinct, or they moved and blended with the mainlanders along the way. And as you come forward in time, you will see that there have been Vikings who went and colonized Greenland during the warm period because there was enough land to do some agriculture. And there were Mesopotamians and Babylonians and Mohenjo-Daro and the Harappans. Everybody has depended on water, either appearing as rain and allowing cultures to grow, cities to grow, people to get rich and kings to become powerful, and then the rain disappears and then they either move away or they go extinct. We don't always have data to say, we don't have evidence, we don't do, we can't do enough detective work to say exactly what happened to them, but you can find evidence that they existed and then they stopped existing. So often we say they went extinct, like the Mayas and the Incas you may have heard of in your history classes and so on, but it's safe to assume that humans have innovation. They will try to survive as the things keep changing, and if they realize, okay, this is not going to be possible anymore, maybe they move away and maybe they leave old people behind who do go extinct. We don't know, right? So we have to keep learning. So we'll learn more now about winter in summertime, which means it is so cold that even the summer is very cold, which obviously means it's about the Ice Age. So we'll come back and talk about this in this chapter on erratics and mammoth erratics, because the climate kept doing these erratic things. Cold periods within cold periods. Remember, Ice Age means lots of cold and lots of glacier, ice and so on, and milder period within the Ice Age can mean more little bit of land and bottom of the sea is exposed and you can do some hunting and fishing and survive, and then the water comes back and you have to run away or die. So we'll come back and discuss. Okay.